The news begins with security update in Nigeria, where the Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, has unveiled alarming statistics on terror, kidnapping, and homicide cases recorded in the past 8 weeks in the country. Speaking to journalists at the Nigeria Police Force headquarters in Abuja, IG Egbetokun revealed that a total of 141 terror incidents, 214 kidnappings, 537 homicides were reported during this period. Egbetokun highlighted the police efforts in apprehending suspects, with 3,685 individuals arrested for their involvement in various crimes, while 401 kidnapped victims were successfully rescued. Breaking down the numbers, the IG stated that within the past 8 weeks, there were also 126 cases of armed robbery and 39 cases of unlawful possession of firearms. The IG emphasized the commitment of Nigeria's police force to excellence, pledging to adopt proactive, technology-driven, and intelligence-led strategies in combating internal security threats. Troops of the Nigerian military has neutralized 2,351 terrorists, 2,308 persons arrested, and 1,241 kidnapped hostages rescued. The Director, Defense and Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who made a disclosure at the bi-weekly first quarter press briefing in Abuja, explained that troops also recovered 2,847 weapons, 58,492 ammunition, and denied oil theft of an estimated sum of over 20 billion naira. While expressing its readiness and focus on what to do with these terrorists and their cohorts, the DMO noted that the armed forces is fighting a vicious enemy in the ongoing operations across the country. It says its aim is to kill these terrorists and the infrastructure that supports them, as it has been collecting intelligence, hunting them, and striking them where they may be hiding and hibernating.
Of 2024 has resulted in 2,351 terrorists neutralized, 2,308 persons arrested, and 1,241 kidnapped hostages rescued in the first quarter. Furthermore, troops recovered in this first quarter 2,847 weapons and over 58,000 assorted ammunition, and we denied the oil theft of over 20 billion naira in this first quarter of 2024. The breakdown is as follows. We recovered 1,497 AK-47 rifles. We recovered over 33,000.
Earlier, we were joined on the news by a security expert, Dr. Awal Abdullahi.
And timely intelligence, use of the civil-military relationship, and getting credible and timely intelligence, synergy between security agencies, between the tri-service itself, and synergy between security agencies, as well as the strategy put together by the Defense Headquarters under the able leadership of the professional but very administrative Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Babin Musa, whom have come with a new strategy, whom have adopted a new approach, who have come with new skills on how to tackle insecurity generally, kidnapping, cattle hustle, banditry, Boko Haram, and general insecurity across the Federation. These are things that have been adopted, like I said, new strategy, new technique, new approach that is coming up under the able leadership of this officer gentleman, the Chief of Defense General Siji Musa. He had this way of reaching out. He has this way of extracting information. He has this way of getting it when it is supposed to be, and then walking the talk. As he gets the information, he walks the talk. And this is why you are having this great achievement within the first quarter. And believe me, like the director of Defense Media Operation has said, they are expecting to achieve more. And I believe if the tempo continues the way it is, with the strategy has been adopted, with the civil-military relation, with interagency relation, with working towards getting information, not waiting for the information, but working towards getting.
A daring assassination attempt on Chief Dr. Philip Agbese, the House of Representatives member for Adedugba Federal Constituency, has been thwarted by security operatives. During the constituency outreach events in Ogumale, chaos erupted as hoodlums allegedly aligned with the Ado local government caretaker chairman, Agbese Onazi, launched a targeted attack on Chief Agbese and his entourage. Eyewitness recounts the tense moments as security operatives swiftly intervened, preventing a potential tragedy with the arrests of several suspects. As investigation into the incident unfolds, authorities are intensifying efforts to uncover the full extent of the brazen attack and ensure all responsible parties are brought to justice. And joining me on the news to talk about this is Alu Ode, national leader, All Middle Belt Youth Forum. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay, seems we're having connection challenges with our guest. We'll try to connect with him in the course of the news bulletin. Moving on to another news item. The Nigerian Army has accused the media of being biased, reporting the activities of its personnel. This is coming at a time the nation is still mourning the 17 soldiers that were ambushed and murdered at Okwama community in Ohili South local government area of Delta State, South Nigeria. Our correspondent, Austin Hazu, has details.
Is the Nigerian Army Civil Military Cooperation Media Chart first quarter 2024 aimed at enhancing national security, holding in Asaba, Delta State capital. Heads of media establishments, practitioners, paramilitary delegates, special guests of honors, including top military brass, converged on this hall to deliberate and examine the theme of the event, imperatives of military media partnership for the attainment of national security.
Through our collaboration with the media, the Nigerian Army ensures that accurate and balanced information reach the public, dispelling misinformation and rumors that can sow public distrust.
We must understand that either as military officer, as military men, or as media men, we're all working for the same goal, public good, common good of our own nation. So what you should ask yourself as a journalist when you do a report is that what will be the impact of that report on all society, the community, and the entire society.
In his keynote address, Chief of Army Staff, represented by the GOC, 6th Division, Lance Component and Commander, JTF South-South Operation Delta Save, urged the media to refrain from inevitably amplifying the activities of terrorists, bandits, militants, among others, who he described as enemies of the nation. He harped on robust synergy with the media towards nation building.
In this regard, the unprovoked killing of some of our troops carrying out their constitutional assignments in Okoma community in Delta State comes to mind. The dastardly act was executed in the most barbaric and cruel manner, which is unacceptable and condemnable. More worrisome was the orchestrated use of disinformation to misguide the public about the true accounts of the incident, while clasping aspersions on the professional conduct of the personnel deployed to the area.
The State Commissioner of Information commended the Nigerian military for the engagement and urged for its sustainability.
And this is why I again extol the Nigerian Army for considering it worth the while to partner with the media, especially given the crucial and unique functions of the media in the role of an information activist for an informed public and responsible organizations.
The guest speakers expanded conversation on the enhancing national security through military media engagements and promoting military media trust for improved public support towards addressing Nigeria's security challenges. The chat featured panel discussion as a minute silent was observed for the 17 soldiers killed in Okwama community and others that lost their lives in the course of national assignment. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
To speak on the assassination attempt on the House of Reps member in Benue State, I'm joined live now by my guest, Alu Ode, National Leader, All Middle Belt Youth Forum. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon.
I mean, looking at the reports, showing these alleged assassination attempts, what is it about our politics in this context now for the Middle Belt region that makes it, a do-or-die affair?
Yes, the attempt on assassination attempt on Honorable Philip Agbesi came as a rude shock to us, especially the young element of Middle Belt. The reason being that the person in question, Philip Agbesi, is a fresher in the House of Representatives, and so far has demonstrated a capacity to represent the good people of Ado, Opoku, and the Obadibu Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives so far. That even in less than 7 months within his federal constituency, the people witnessed his good deeds. And then the rumbling that came in within the party cycles made every one of us to wonder at. You've won the election and you have your person in position, and within you, the party members of the same party, you are having rumbling within yourself. What else did you want from the people? So it's a very wrong steps, and it's a politics which I tag as politics of gangsterism that has been taken too far. It doesn't want it at all, because the painful thing of it is that this incident happened right at the country home of the honorable member. He's from Ado local government in the Opoku, in the constituency, in the federal constituency. So it happened to him right in his own place. So what else do the people want? And when the politics of a non started, that is a non comprises of Ado, Opoku, Obadibu. In 1999, they had 1 term. Then somebody else came from Opoku, had 2 terms. Somebody else came from Obadibu, had 2 terms. Then one person again came from the same Ado, and he had 1 term. He was supposed to go for his 2nd term, but his party denied him ticket. And then the people now gave their mandate to Agbesi to represent them. And within the same cycle, you are still seeing this rumbling. It doesn't want it at all. And the one painful thing is that if a politician is bad, we condemn that politician that he or she is bad. And the politician is good, relating well with his people. The people are not also comfortable. What else do they want?
Just to chip in there, Mr. Ode, I mean, what policies need be put in place, or what policies need be tweaked to ensure safety and security, not just of lives and properties now, but also for people vying for political positions in the Middle Belt and even in Nigeria at large?
Yes, the politics we need here is a politics that has a human face. The politics that appreciate anyone elected into position that performs creditably well, that we should all commend, and not politics of bitterness or because you want to get somebody out of the way just to get in there, or get somebody out of the way to please who else. Do you know the one shocking thing of that incident that happened yesterday? The one shocking thing about it is that right that moment that it happened, the attack was launched on him. His constituency office in Opoku, his senior media aide was also attacked. His senior legislative aide was also attacked in Opoku. You know, the constituency comprised of 3 local governments, of Ado, Opoku, and Obadibu. So the very attack that happened to the honorable in his home local government at all, also happened to his legislative aide in Opoku local government. And he's uncalled for.
Now,
It's uncalled for. So we need politics devoid of bitterness, politics devoid of anger, politics devoid of war against ourselves.
now there's been calls.
Today, Adebola is in position. Tomorrow, another person will be there. He wasn't there yesterday.
Mr. Ode, yes, because of our time, we've had calls from different, okay, I'm being told we're pressed for time, but thank you so much for your time on the news. Alu Ode, national leader, All Middle Belt Youth Forum. Thank you once again. Now moving on to another story, but before then, let's take a short break. You're live with News Central TV. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. Lagos, Kano, and other 10 states in Nigeria are preparing to generate their own electricity in compliance with Electricity Act of 2023. Despite the tariff hike, many states are using the new Electricity Act to establish their own power generation companies, and they have created their own electricity market laws and are awaiting approval from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Meanwhile, the federal government's decision to increase power tariffs by 340% for Band A consumers has sparked criticism. The subsidy for these consumers, who represent about 15% of all power users, has been entirely removed. The new tariff is 225 naira per kilowatt an hour, a substantial increase from the previous 68 naira kilowatt per hour. The Nigerian Senate has assured citizens of the country that they would not be left to fend for themselves amidst the uproar caused by the 300% hike in electricity tariff for customers classified as Band A. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, gave the reassurance while speaking to journalists, where he emphasized that upon resumption from recess, the Senate will thoroughly assess the situation and take decisive action in the best interest of the nation and its citizens. Senator Adaramodu stressed that the Senate, being a responsible and responsive institution, would not stand idly by in the face of policies directly impacting the economy, security, and welfare of Nigerians. This assurance comes in the wake of the federal government's approval of staggering 340% increase in electricity tariff for Band A customers, a decision that has drawn widespread criticism and concern. And to talk about this in details, I'm joined live on the news by Elvis Akpobi, Executive Director, Not Too Young to Lead Initiative. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon. It's always a pleasure.
I mean, what's your analysis of the Senate's reaction, or reassurance rather, regarding the recent electricity tariff hike in Nigeria?
For me, the Senate have been reassuring and assuring of Nigerians that they will do this, they will do that. But over time, they don't walk the talk. A lot of Nigerians seem to be disappointed with the people that make policies for us. It seems as if their personal interest supersedes the nation's personal interest, and you can't just increase tariff for electricity by almost 300%. Let's not withstand it to that. The Nigerian citizens too, if you give them steady power supply, they are willing to pay. What we're clamoring for basically is give us good road, provide for transportation of goods and services, provide steady, stable electricity for us, give us security, and Nigeria will be on the world map. Give us policies for forest exchange and all that. Nigeria will be on the world map. But today you find out that during electioneering, you see these people, we contract governors to go to the Senate to make laws and policies for us. When they get there, a handful of them fall asleep because of their personal interest. But notwithstanding too, I was going to understand that we have category A, category B, and all that. Why categorizing electricity distribution? I tend to tell me one person is more Nigeria than one other person. One person consumes better than the other. So for me, I think it's a fugazi. Most of these policies that are coming up, it's just to protect a particular interest and not the interest of the citizens.
Well, talking about categorization, you talked about the Band A, 20 hours supply in 24 hours. We have the Band B, which is supposed to get 18 hours out of 16 hours rather out of the 24 hours, and then we have the Band C, Band D, and then Band E. There are fears these will trickle down to the lower bands, the band B, C, D, and E. What impact do you
Yes.
think this would have on the average Nigerian?
I still, like I said, like why all these bans? I've traveled to many countries and I've not heard of band B, band A, band all that. Why trying to segregate a particular band when you can provide steady power, electricity for everybody and people to pay? Nigerians are willing to pay whatever tariff they want, but give us. Well, over time, we'll be paying for power we didn't consume. Let them walk the talk. If it's written on the book that band A will pay this because we already have that, those that we contracted governance to with our votes, I've seen it that we should say there should be segregation. If we are paying for that, let's have it. But during the meantime, do we have all these things? Where I stay, where I live, presently live in Asaba, I can't remember the last time I had the privilege to access electricity.
Well, the argument
But in a,
by, yes, just to chip in there, Elvis, the argument by NEC is that they are saving 1.4 trillion naira in the subsidy for tariffs. Do you think this is a valid enough reason when it comes to saving for Nigeria, so to speak?
It's not enough reason. If you want to save money for Nigeria, let's be factual here because I believe that the office of the citizen is greater than every other citizen. The last time I read a memo that says the president was going to Qatar, I saw both his relations, people who are not meant to be on that trip, going there. That's taxpayer money. Let's save the cost of governance than saving the cost of subsidies for electricity. That's my take. If really you mean well for the citizens, save the cost of governance and saving the cost of electricity for because of electricity. Because if you provide power, a lot of SMEs will do very, very well. To me, I think it's a misplaced priority we're having in Nigeria, which is not so good.
Do
And
you
that's why I
think
see a lot of young people escaping Nigeria just to survive.
Mm. Do you think the government should have done better when it comes to communicating these kind of increments? If you look at the instance of the ban on styrofoam, there was a 1-year window period whereby people were notified. Now, when it comes to these tariffs, removed, do you think there should have been better communication from the federal government to Nigerians to prepare Nigerians accordingly when such subsidies yanked off?
Yes, they should, but like I always say, to make progress, we must build trust. You're a citizen of Nigeria. Do how many citizens have trust in the people making policies for them today? Because over time, their actions and inactions supersede their personal interest was. So even telling us 4 days, there are countries where a president will just sit up and say, "This is what I want to do." All the citizens will subscribe to it. But over time, we'll consistently see people talking without acting, and there's no trust, and we can't make progress if there's no trust. That's why it seems as if we are here. I don't think the communication period is right, but still, Nigerian citizens have no trust for a handful of people steering the ship of Nigeria today.
Well, thank you so much for your expertise on the news. Elvis Akpobi, Executive Director, Not Too Young to Lead Initiative. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
A member of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, Chinedu Uzodike, is reported to have said that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which has returned as a sole importer of the product, was rationing supply to depots. NNPC is currently operating as the sole importer of petrol into the country, with marketers across the country relying on the government-owned oil company for supplies. It reported that it has been very difficult to lift products from NNPC in the past 2 days, and that has resulted in skeletal scarcity, and some of the portals owned by NNPC have shut down and are no longer issuing authority to lift to marketers. Earlier, we were joined on the news by Gbolahan Olojede, a developmental economist and energy expert.
Issues around pricing by the petroleum transporters at some point. I think that was part of what caused one of the February scarcity. There are also issues around supply. You mentioned the fact that NNPC had become the sole importer again. And the reason is clear. The reason is because of the instability of the volatility of the currency. If you're going to do an importation and you're not so sure what the rates will be. How do you deal with that? Only government can handle the nature of volatility we have seen in the foreign exchange market in the past few months. So because of that, all the other people that were meant to be to contribute to importation and improve the supply, all the independent people that should have been able to import, nobody is able to import, only the government. So that sometimes will be part of the problem in the supply and distribution of the product.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has tasked members of the 6th Legislature of ECOWAS Parliament to unite and face challenges affecting the ECOWAS community headlong. This was during the inauguration of 6th Legislature of ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, where he urged regional lawmakers to ensure they contribute their quota to growth and development of the ECOWAS community. Amadine Uyi has details.
It was the inauguration of the 6th Legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament. In attendance were new regional lawmakers, comprising the old returning members of the Parliament, representatives from the ECOWAS Commission, senior members of both Nigeria's executive and legislative arms of government, amongst others.
The ECOWAS Parliament, since its formation, has contributed efficiently and effectively to the implementation of the objectives of the community in its unending quest to strengthen representative democracy across the region. Today's transition, therefore, provides fresh opportunity to renew that commitment and contribute further to a more prosperous future for the people of West Africa.
This is a very significant moment for our organization as we witness the transition of leadership and the commencement of a new chapter in our journey towards regional integration.
As we gather here, we are reminded of the noble ideas upon which this esteemed institution was founded to promote peace, stability, and socio-economic development across the diverse and vibrant West African sub-region.
The president of the ECOWAS Commission reminded the regional lawmakers of the challenges facing the community as part of his message to the parliament.
As we gather today, our region is faced with threats to peace and security, as well as poverty. As you all know, and as if that is not enough, our region is now faced with the risks of disintegration.
Also, President Bola Tinubu, who was a special guest of honor at the occasion, urged parliamentarians to unite and face the challenges facing the ECOWAS community headlong. He challenged them to live up to the expectations of residents of the community.
As we inaugurate the 6th legislature, it is evident that we face profound challenges in our region that demand our unified effort. At this critical junction, regional solidarity is imperative to strengthening our resiliency and effectiveness as a bloc, particularly against forces that aim to divide us. We must not allow this. We cannot afford to remain passive and ordinary spectators while our community faces the threat of disintegration.
The 6th legislature is expected to serve a term of 4 years. President Tinubu also tasked the members to surpass the achievements of the outgoing 5th legislature. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The Lagos state government had on March 30th announced the planned reopening of the 3rd Mainland Bridge for April 4th, 2024, after extensive repair work. Our correspondent Bettina Unweli observed the reopening in this report.
After weeks of unending stress and extra hours of commuting from the mainland to the island and vice versa, the 3rd Mainland Bridge has finally been opened, and Lagosians are excited.
We were waiting for days like this that they would open, because this thing makes us, when we are not supposed to leave home, we leave home. So we are so happy to see.
For a very long time now, we have been having challenge with movement especially from the island to the mainland. But I think with the new development, I think the transportation stress will reduce to a large extent.
Speaking to journalists on behalf of the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, Olukorede Keisha, Controller of Works, Lagos State, said the successful completion of the first phase of the rehabilitation works is a clear indication that President Bola Tinubu is working.
I would like to warmly thank the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his commitment to the provision of infrastructure developments of Nigeria.
It's partially shut down in January, and we promised the federal government, of course, through the Federal Ministry of Works, did a fantastic job, and they gave a timeline of 5 months. I must say that they've done a fantastic job, and in less than 5 months, the bridge has been completed.
The Controller of Works, Olukorede Keisha, also revealed that work has already begun on the underwater damage to the bridge, which is the second phase of the rehabilitation works on the bridge. She equally revealed plans to commence work on the Kata Bridge, which she says is scheduled to start as the contractor handling the project has already been mobilized.
I want to tell you that the job is about 95% completed, not 100%, but other works that are remaining to be done can be ongoing while traffic move on the bridge. What we have outstanding now is just provision of solar lights, and the contractor is actually working. One bound is almost completed, the median is almost completed, then we'll now move to the ramps, and then we have the CCTV and the guardrails.
The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority has warned motorists to observe speed limits when traveling along the extensive section of the newly repaired 3rd Mainland Bridge. Motorists are urged to observe all traffic signs and installed technological equipment connected to traffic. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Unwili.
Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio has declared a drug abuse and national emergency in the country. In a solemn address to the nation on Thursday, President Bio emphasized the severity of the drug abuse crisis, particularly the widespread use of a synthetic drug known as kush, which has been increasingly popular among young people in Sierra Leone. President Bao outlined a comprehensive plan to tackle the drug abuse epidemic, including the formation of a task force comprising government agencies and NGOs. Furthermore, he assured the nation that his government is actively working to dismantle drug trafficking networks operating within Sierra Leone's borders. Nigeria's junta leader, General Abdulrahman Chiani, has dissolved all local councils in a move that triggers military control over the country. He says Gianni, who seized power in the coup last July, issued an order on Thursday for dissolution of all municipal and regional councils last elected in 2020. According to state media, General Gianni's decree did not provide an explanation for the dissolution, leaving many questioning the motives behind the decision. In a follow-up decree broadcast by state radio, military, police, and public officials were appointed to take charge of local authorities, signaling a significant restructuring of power dynamics. Notably, Umaru Dogari, the mayor of Niger's capital, Niamey, has been replaced by an army colonel, further solidifying the military's control over key administrative positions. And tensions have reached a boiling point between Togo's president, Faure Gnassingbe's government, and the opposition following the parliament's contentious approval of a constitutional reform believed to be aimed at prolonging Gnassingbe's grip on power. In response, 4 opposition parties and a civil society group issued a joint statement denouncing what they perceive as an attempt by the regime to orchestrate a constitutional coup. The dispute over the reform has sparked widespread debate over President Gnassingbe's prolonged rule, which began in 2005 following the secession of his father, who governed for 3 decades after a military coup. Opposition leaders are demanding the withdrawal of the reform, which could grant the National Assembly the power to elect the president directly, fearing it could entrench Gnassingbe's hold on power. Madagascar has officially called on the EU to replace its ambassador to the island nation following her criticism of a newly passed law allowing chemical and surgical castration of convicted child rapists. Isabel Berger, the EU's ambassador to Madagascar, denounced the measure during a press conference, labeling it as contrary even to Madagascar's constitution and international norms. In response, Madagascar's Foreign Affairs Minister summoned Ambassador Delattre to address her remarks, leading to the formal request for her replacement. A spokeswoman for the European Commission confirmed that Madagascar has requested a replacement of the envoy, with the EU currently considering the demand in consultation with Madagascar government. The White House says the United States' support for Israel's defense remains ironclad, despite President Joe Biden warning that Washington's policies on Gaza will depend on protecting civilians. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby made a statement while addressing the media. Biden's frustrations with Netanyahu escalated after an Israeli strike hit a World Central Kitchen Aid convoy this week, killing 7 aid workers, including an American citizen.
That our support for Israel's self-defense remains ironclad. They face a range of threats, and the United States isn't going to walk away from helping Israel defend itself. That said, you can say all that, and you can act on that, and you can believe that, and the president does, and still believe that the manner in which they are defending themselves against the Hamas threat needs to change. I'm not going to preview any potential policy decisions coming forward. What we want to see are some real changes on the Israeli side. You know, if we don't see changes from their side, there'll have to be changes from our side. But I won't preview what that could look like. Now, we want to see that even as the Israelis work through their investigation, that they are willing and able to take practical, immediate steps to protect aid workers on the ground and to demonstrate that they have that civilian harm mitigation in place.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has raised American concerns about the impact of China's industrial overcapacity on the global market as she meets with the governor of the southern Chinese city of Handong, Wan Shizong. Yellen will hold 2 days of meetings with her Chinese counterpart, He Lifang, the country's economic czar, before traveling to Beijing for talks with other high-level officials. Beijing and Washington have clashed over flashpoint issues ranging from technology and trade to human rights, as well as self-ruled island of Taiwan and the South China Sea.
At the same time, I've also emphasized that building a healthy economic relationship requires a level playing field for American workers and firms and open and direct communication on areas where we disagree. And this includes the issue of China's industrial overcapacity, which the United States and other countries are concerned can cause global spillovers.
The Supreme Court of Panama has started to print, stock, and send ballot papers nationwide for general elections to hold 5th of May, when the country will elect a new president. Ex-President Ricardo Martinelli was banned from running in the 2024 general election. The court declared him ineligible earlier this month, citing his inability to run due to a nearly 11-year prison sentence for money laundering. Panama's constitution bans anyone sentenced to prison term of 5 years or more from serving as president. The Electoral Court said his running mate, Jose Raul Mulino, will appear in the ballot as presidential candidate for Martinelli's political party. South Africa's Harmony Gold announced on Thursday that it has reached a 5-year wage agreement with a coalition of trade unions. In the first 3 years, starting from July 2024, workers will receive a wage increase of 6.2%, which will then rise to 6.35% in the 4th year and 6.5% in the 5th year. Harmony Gold stated that if the inflation rate exceeds the agreed percentage increases, the wage increases will be linked to the inflation rate. The National Union of Mine Workers, NUM, Solidarity, and other unions, including the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union, and the United Association of South Africa, have confirmed their participation in the deal. South Africa coach Desiree Ellis is keen to get a positive result when her side faced Nigeria in what she tagged as a tough battle in the final round of qualifiers for the women's football tournament at Paris 2024 Olympic Games. 9-time African champion Super Falcons will host the reigning continental champions in Abuja on Friday, with a return leg in Pretoria 4 days later. South Africa beat the Super Falcons en route to winning the Women's Africa Cup of Nations title in 2022. And now the countries meet again for a ticket to Paris, and Ellis is expecting a tough battle, but targets a positive result in Abuja.
Testing out the pitch and crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and the game's tomorrow, so we're ready for the game. And we know it's going to be a tough match. Any game is a tough match, and you cannot underestimate anyone. Doesn't matter who you play against, because you underestimate the team at your own peril. And Nigeria are so many times African champions, you know, been there, done that, done well at the World Cup. So you cannot take that for granted, and you've got to respect that. Whatever has happened in the past where we've come and played and won, that's history. That doesn't dictate what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's a completely new game. Tomorrow's a game is who wants it the most. You made a statement that they went in 2008 and would really love to go. Same with us. We didn't go 2020 and we would really love to go. You know, so it's going to be a game where we have to be on top of our game. We're going to have to bring our A game. We have to score the chances that we create, because we're a team that creates chances. You know, we just got to make sure that we don't concede. So it's going to be that type of game where I think it's going to be very, very tight, and the winner over 2 legs is going to have a tight result as well. But we obviously have come to any game you come to, you want to win, and I don't think we.
And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. President Tinubu urges 6th ECOWAS legislature to address sub-regional challenges. Electricity tariff goes up 300% as Nigerian Senate pledges to help citizens cope. We also told you that Togo opposition calls for a 3-day protest over election delay. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedugba.